10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6.
Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Waqboard. Today is February 13th, and we have a jam-packed episode for you all. So let's start with a couple of things that have been happening in the wider space, the wider crypto space. The first is Coinbase released this article saying Coinbase's staking service is not securities, and here's why. And then they have the TLDR. They say staking is not security under the US Securities Act, nor under the Howey test. Trying to superimpose security laws onto a process like staking doesn't help customers at all, and instead imposes unnecessarily aggressive mandates that will prevent US customers from accessing basic crypto services and push users to offshore unregulated platforms. So here's an article from, I guess, Coinbase legal team / people in the know, and they presented their case about staking services. They're fighting, right? They're arguing back. They're kind of discussing this. They don't want to take it lying down. Good for them. However, another piece of news today is really shaking the markets. Paxos saying that they will no longer issue Binance USD stablecoin. This was actually a really well-reputed stablecoin because Paxos has the regulatory scrutiny that they're under in New York is tremendous. However, they got a notice from the SEC, the New York Department of Financial Services, to stop issuing Binance USD. So they're saying they will be reviewing other projects in those jurisdictions to ensure our customers are insulated from further undue harm, a Binance spokesperson told the block. So this news basically is a confirmation, I guess, that people were kind of expecting of the Operation Choke Point, something. Just this idea that basically there's going to be a coordinated attack against the whole of the crypto industry, and this SEC coming after Kraken last week, and then now regulators coming after Binance's USD stablecoin. People think that there's definitely something going on here. However, the response from Coinbase and Binance couldn't be more different, in all honesty. Binance is saying that they are going to continue using BUSD for now, but they're going to start exploring options. So Binance will continue to use BSD for the foreseeable future, while it does see users migrating to different stablecoins. So basically what's going to happen is they'll keep the token circulating, but they won't issue any new tokens. So as tokens get burned, they'll be taken off the market. The exchange is ready to adjust accordingly and could move away from using BUSD as their main pair for trading. And BUSD accounts for just over 37% of the spot trading volume on Binance. The figure was high as 39% in recent months. So Binance now are quite actively saying that they're going to move away from it. They're not challenging the regulation enforcement that they're kind of getting, which is very, very stark contrast from what Coinbase are doing. And I think there's something deeper maybe there that people aren't quite paying attention to. And then we had Jesse Powell, who shared this link to a video from CNBC where Gary Gensler was talking about how crypto companies should fill out a form and talk to the SEC and they can get regulated. And basically Jesse was saying, oh man, all I had to do was fill out a form on the website and tell people that staking rewards came from staking. I wish I'd seen this video before paying a $30 million fine and agreeing to permanently shut down the service in the US. How dumb do I look? Gosh. So he's obviously being sarcastic, and he's talking about how Gary Gensler saying one thing to the media and in the public, whereas what he's saying, behind doors to people who want to be regulated is completely different, and it's making it impossible because we just don't have any clarity. So all of these things are kind of shaking the market a little bit. The RPL price, especially today, trended down quite strongly. But hey, let's see what comes of this in the next few weeks. People are definitely starting to get scared. I've seen quite a few comments of people in the Rocket Pool community kind of being kind of negative, I guess. Being negative. So I thought I'd cover that because it obviously impacts the Rocket Pool. So yeah. Now moving on to actual Rocket Pool news. Mad Matt here shared a screenshot of the Aave vote that was succeeded for their governance. So it says add rETH to Aave Ethereum version 3 pool, and that succeeded, but it didn't show up on their website. So basically we found out that it's time locked. So Mark Zeller says just queued Rocket Pool's rETH onboarding into Aave time lock. It will be available tomorrow at around 3 p.m. Central European time. Have fun. So this was from the 12th. So that went live. And as that information came through, that the time lock was in place and it was being incorporated here on the ETH Finance, we had Nicola_J, who works with DeFi Saver, that has literally saved a whole bunch of people their positions by like managing their liquidity. Their liquidation. Nicola says any rETH fans around here, it's going live in Aave version 3 tomorrow afternoon EU time. We should have it live in DeFi Saver just as quickly, including leverage staking options for creating rETH ETH positions. So then the next update we had was for this from DeFi Saver saying the rETH is now live on Aave v3. Congrats to Rocket Pool and all Rocketeers on a large step towards greater adoption of rETH. You can start using rETH in Aave today with our Aave version 3 dashboard and leverage staking one transaction recipes. So it's really awesome what they're doing. DeFi Saver is a great add-on to a lot of DeFi projects like Maker and Aave and Compound and others. So it's really, really wonderful that they've got rETH in here. Of course, be cautious interacting with DeFi protocols. You could lose everything you put in, but this is really exciting. Okay, and then of course the Rocket Pool team announced this following a successful round of governance voting. Aave has constructed a price feed and onboarded rETH to their version 3 Ethereum market. We're looking forward to working with the Aave Chan initiative on deeper integrations in the future. So I think that is really interesting because there's two deeper integrations there's one deeper integration that we definitely want, and Jasper here, not Jasper, Nicola from DeFi Saver came into trading as well to let everyone know. He says, hey Rocket Pool fam, DeFi Nicola here from the DeFi Saver team. Just want to let you know that we've integrated rETH as it went live on Aave version 3 of mainnet. We even have some pre-made one-click recipes out for aping in leveraged rETH staking positions. You can simply use rETH on our Aave version 3 dashboard. Cheers. So yeah, that was really great that Nicola also came into trading to talk about it, which is awesome. And then people asking questions about the APY and what all that kind of stuff. So go check out the links in the description to read some of these conversations. They're really good. We had this from Jasper. He says, by the way, we are going to have another Aave proposal coming up, and people are just eyes and fire. And Genesis asks E-mode, and Jasper says nope. And he says new proposal has to be written still, so I guess someone's got to write that proposal. He says Aave has seen what the fix the borrow protocols have been offering and want to slice. So it seems like they're offering a new product. Jasper says me and Mark have been chatting about his tweet plan for withdrawals. So yeah, I think there's some stuff happening, and I'm really curious to see how it's going to go. Jasper goes on to say he wasn't aware that nodes don't get rETH. I explained Rocket App to him though, and he wants to use it to keep rETH. He has some interesting plans for rETH. He gets back. So yeah, I'm curious to see how all that's going to go, because it's going to be good. So talking about Mark and talking to Jasper, there's another tweet from Mark. He says, welcome to the Aave fam, rETH. So then there's a screenshot of Aave on the rETH on the Aave version 3 platform, and Mark says next step is to activate E-mode for both CBETH and rETH. If you want that to happen, feel free to deposit on Aave, so we can have market data, and the ACI has a strong case for governance. So there's two things here. One is activate E-mode, and the two is start interacting with Aave with rETH. So E-mode, let me just get to the master here. So sorry, not retweeted, quote tweeted. So Marceau quote tweeted this, Oh wait, actually I missed it. Let me see. I got the wrong tweet here. Maso was talking about. Let me see what it is. Yes, here. So he says huge. Next up, Aave eMode. So eMode will kind of allow. It will allow like folding to happen. And I said, how soon can eMode come? And he said they'll need people to use the existing facility. This is what the Rocket Pool intern says, to get some usage stats. So I guess it depends on uptake. And it says, I know for sure that eMode would get used like crazy. And then people asking questions on other parts of this thread. Let me have a look. Sorry. And Marceau says, I would do some dirty things when eMode gets launched. And yeah, this is like going around in the circle, which kind of symbolizes the way that you can fold your rETH. So this is the way that the folding works, or hyper staking works, is you will deposit your rETH into Aave once eMode is enabled, of course. They will give you ETH back at a interest rate. Then you use that ETH to buy more rETH, which you will get a reward. And then the idea is that the reward from rETH will be higher than the interest rate from Aave. So then you get the rETH that you minted from Rocket Pool and take it back to Aave and do the whole process again. And you can do this numerous times over and over again, and it's called folding, and it will allow amazing uplift of rETH adoption. So that is really, really exciting. So talking about like classical DeFi protocols, here we have this thing from Curve. It says Curve 5 Factory Crypto Pool Rocket Pool rETH ETH. So there's a reason why they made this pool, and it's really interesting to see that this pool has gotten created, because last year the Rocket Pool community asked Curve to make an rETH ETH pool, and they wouldn't do it at the time, saying that we only allowing default pools to be created at the moment, and we're not doing any custom pool work. So that was what led to the rETH WST ETH pool that was created. It wasn't like a Curve wouldn't do one for us, but it seems like now that Rocket Pool's gotten a lot of adoption, everything's growing really well, and things are going really well, and we're getting a lot of DeFi integrations. It seems like the Curve team went out there and did it themselves. So you can see by these transactions that the pool has gone live, and you can go check it out and see what it looks like. I don't really understand this DeFi stuff, so if I've made any mistakes in explaining what has happened, please let me know and I'll correct it in tomorrow's episode. Okay, next we have a whole lot of updates from Joe. So Joe says, I bring more news of Operation Infinite Bread. And Joe says, multi-call refactoring is going extremely well. I've reduced the querying of the entire network state, including Beacon, from around 10 minutes down to 32 seconds. But wait, there's more. For example, getting the details for all nodes with multi-call support took about 8,728 HTTP requests, and the vast majority of those are ETH get balance for the node itself and the fee distributor. Those can't be multi-called since they're not contract calls, so I was doing them individually. However, I present to you, and he goes on to say, there's a GitHub called ETH Balance Checker. So Joe goes on to say, he says, this teeny tiny little contract that was written in like 2018 has exactly one job to do: take a bunch of addresses and get their balance in an ETH call. Suffice to say, after writing a binding for that, I've reduced the number of HTTP calls for a node details from 8,728 down to 414. He says that's it all. Continue UFO related shenanigans back to work. So that was definitely interesting. Just makes it a lot more efficient for your node to get the information it needs. And Jasper, Joe says, all right, the numbers are in. He says 243 start, 243.52, so like 22 seconds later, version 5 on the test stations, and then 4 minutes later, version 4 on the test stations, version 5 times 22 seconds, version 4 time 3 minutes and 51 seconds, speed up 90%. So Joe's like doing some amazing optimization improvements. My team says amazing improvement. And Joe says, Nick says, should you be working at this hour on the Saturday? And Joe says, you don't want to see my time card. And too long, didn't read. This is the only way to assess rewards tree version 5 on mainnet without Atlas. Yeah, and then that conversation goes on. He says, I have a bunch of people asking protest questions, literally cannot break away from this long enough to answer them. He says, the reason why I'm doing all this is twofold. Thing the first, I need to test rewards version 5 with Proteus. Thing the second, I had concerns about how well the Watchtower scaled with LEB8s and solo migrations, because I expect them to add a lot of new mini pools and nodes respectively. I am no longer concerned, which is really awesome. Really, really, really great to see. And yeah, let's move on, because there's just a lot. So then Joe showed like in requests, this is how many requests version 4 smart node 1.7.5 does during tree gen. So it does 416,322, and then he says this is how many version 5 does, 538. So I'm not sure exactly how those numbers work, but like Joe's very happy with version 5 that's going to come out in smart node version 1.9.0. So I'm really, really happy that Joe's sharing all this information. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So thank you, Joe, for all that. I think there might be more. Yeah, he says observe a function before network state goodness. I have no idea what I'm looking at, but it seems pretty good. And then it says balances make big int blah blah blah. Node distribution balances using ETH, return balances nil. He says it's hard to overstate how massive this change is. I can't overstate it because I don't fully understand all the ramifications of it, but all I know is that it's going to make node operating a lot more efficient, a lot quicker, a lot less resource intensive. I think it's going to make generating trees for the ODAO a lot quicker and a lot easier for them to do. And yeah, it's a really, really big improvement, a really big development. So Joe's very optimistic about it. That means I'm very optimistic about it because I really trust him. He says very TLDR, I made a thing that captures the entire state of Rocket Pool on both chains and use that for daemon duties now. It reduces the HTTP query count by a factor of about 1,000. So it's just absolutely astronomical just how much more efficient what the systems that Joe's putting in place are doing now. So I really like it. Like, yeah. Oh yeah, okay, we just covered that. Okay, and then yeah, this was the stuff that we covered on Friday's episode about how, you know, the kind of the ideas, but then he had numbers over the weekend, so it was really great. So Phonak shared the screenshot of all the votes that were taking place on governance. There were 3 votes. All the votes have closed, and Phonak shared the details. He says change protocol settings for Atlas. 99.57 people said yes. 7.8 thousand votes for. 26 votes abstained. Updating grants management committee, here as well we had 6,400 votes for and 126 votes abstained, so 98.3% approval. And self-limit rocket pool, here we had 8,500 votes for, 38 votes against, and that worked out to be 99.55% approval, which is absolutely wonderful. For those of you who voted on those governance posts, there is now a POAP available, so you can say, it says congratulations, the POAP has been minted to your collection. I've already minted mine, but you go on the right hand side on this panel just underneath the results and it says mint POAP, and you get this really nice POAP that I think I want to say Shifrin created, and you can see what it looks like. It says like GMC update and like the I voted there, so you get I voted badge, which is really cool. Okay. Right, so next we had this post from Cal Kaludran, who obviously is on the GMC, and he writes that the GMC is not sure what to do with Invis being on the GMC. So Invis, as you know, is a member of the Rocket Pool community who found an exploit and used it against another community member. As a kind of a joke, like not really fully understanding what was happening, I think, or not understanding the ramifications of it. That exploit was then discovered by someone more malicious and was used against over 400 nodes to block them from selling any RPL for 28 days. So the team banned Invis from the Discord for 1 year and has he's banned from the Discord for 1 year as a punishment. Until the language in the message was, there might be a path back if he apologizes and owns up to his issues. Invis has since sent out an apology, but as far as I know, there's not any response from the team regarding what is happening with that now. So Carl wrote this post. He says, "Hi all, this is sort of a communal post from the GMC related to Invis's role on the committee. The GMC has some discussions about it over the past week and is not intending on holding a vote internally to remove Invis from the community. I am trying to capture the range of sentiment from those who participated in the conversation. Some believe he should not be removed. Others believe that the management committee removal vote should be used by community members only for offences related to the committee itself. Things like non-participation, obstruction of committee work, committee-related fraud, etc. That's the camp that I fall in. Among the latter group, the feeling is that if the community believes that Invis's offence to the community is worthy of removal from the GMC, then that decision should come from the community rather than the committee itself. This is where the committee will be leaving the issue. Though individual committee members can and likely will join in the community discussion about the topic here in governance, we are also having some internal discussions regarding alternative communication methods. For now, we are making do with a group DM, which has been fine for limited things the GMC is currently doing. If we decide we will need something such as a separate Discord server, we will make sure to include the community in discussion about what that might look like." So this post went out. Since then, there have been 55 messages on about this in the subthread about in governance, and there's a lot of discussion here. I think that everyone in the community should definitely pop into here, have a look at some of the comments, and voice their comments about whether you think Invis should be kept in the GMC, if he should be removed from the GMC, whether it should go to a community vote, and what should happen with that. So people here are discussing it, like very well-known names of the community like Noshua, Waldorf, Object, Kalurran, of course. I popped in there myself to leave some comments. You can go back and read all of those comments right there. They're linked in the description. So you can definitely take part in this discussion. Have a look, and please take part in this, because we'd like to put this behind us basically as soon as possible. So thank you all for that. Right, Rocket Luke shared something really interesting with the community. So he says, "Now I can finally put this in the public. Earlier this week, I recognized that Binance had mistakenly enabled borrowing for RPL and therefore shorting. That would be fine, but the devil is in the details. They put their borrow limit. They put their borrow limit of 160,000 RPL for regular user and up to 1.44 million RPL for VIP level 9 on the exchange. This was reported to me by Kane and then pushed to their contact on Binance. Borrowing got quickly disabled, but the limit stayed. Today I can finally say they fixed the borrowing limits and kept the borrowing disabled for the time being. I expected the mistake to be 1,000x, but it was actually 4,000 higher limit than it was supposed to be. Mistakes on this scale could cause smaller exchanges potentially to go bankrupt by the market by opening short positions so big they would violate any sensible risk management of the exchange itself, as a potential unwinding of such a position wouldn't be simply possible. The new borrowing limits are 1/4,000th of the original. A regular user can borrow 40 RPL to long or short, and the VIP level 9 can do up to 360. So they really messed that up, and it could have had disastrous consequences if it wasn't fixed, or I guess if someone malicious saw that and noticed that. It says margin trading parameters can always be checked on this page, and there's a link to the Binance page. See isolated margin pairs and look up RPL. So then there's a screenshot of what it looks like, and borrow limits available being really, really, really high. So I think that was a good catch, and thanks for having that fixed, because it could have had really disastrous consequences. Okay, next we had this post from MacFlad, who says your weekly liquid staking updates are here. Let me Give me 1 second. Yeah. So wait, this is not what I thought I was talking about. Oh yeah, this is what I thought I was talking about. Okay. So yeah, here McFlood had an update about the liquid staking things, about what was going on with that, and what the growth of different protocols look like. Lido went up by 45,000, Rocket Pool went up by 8,000, Stakewise went up by 566, and Stakefish stayed the same. It says a few months ago, James from the Ethereum Foundation posted a survey that aimed to provide insight into ETH staking. You can now read the full report. So let's have a look at the full report, because this was something that I was waiting for a while. So this has got like all these different chapters about solo stakers and staking as a service, mini pool operators, not yet staking, key takeaways, resources, and quotes. It's a good report. It doesn't take too long to read the whole thing, but I'll just talk about the relevant parts about Rocket Pool. They're right here. It says Rocket Pool mini node operators were most likely to hold their Ethereum or only withdraw the rewards, 86%. 83% of solo stakers agreed. Solo staking services users are less likely to keep staking their Ethereum, 59%, though 26% said they would move to an alternative staking solution, which would mean that Ether would remain staked. 26% of those, that's fine. So yeah, there's a whole section here about mini pool operators and what the Rocket Pool community is doing. They were talking about how easy it was to set up the mini pool and how much support they got about that, and they validated their nodes. And what did you find challenging? There was mentions of hardware setup being a challenge. Linux was also noted as a challenge for mini pool operators. And it says, what resources did you learn how to stake? A lot of people were saying about the Discord channel, and are you using MEV Boost Relay? Which are you using? Could you tell us why you chose it? And Flashbots is a dominant player in the group, though Blockstart was much closer in terms of mentions. Rocket Pool Smoothing Pool is also mentioned, though 6 times less than Flashbots. And nearly all Rocket Pool operators are using MEV versus solo stakers. So that's one of the conditions of having Rocket Pool. Of course, is going to become mandatory to have MEV boost. So that's why that's there. Okay, next we have this update from Jasper, who links to this YouTube channel from DeFi Dad, where Jasper, he says why Rocket Pool is poised to take over in 2023, the Edge podcast. So there was a podcast released where Jasper talked to a couple of people from the Edge about Rocket Pool and why it's going to go up. We also had people from DeFi Dad himself popped in to trading. He says, hey, Jasper the Friendly Ghost and Rocket Pool fam will be publicly posting more later today, but wanted to come here first to share this podcast interview with you all. If you like Rocket Pool, Ethereum, and Jasper, you're going to love this. We try to record a conversation how you can easily share with your friends, so hope you find it helpful. And then there's the Edge episode 1 with Jasper, and then you can listen to it. So that was really cool. Sorry, I just went a little bit too far forward. So Trevor N wrote a little summary for us. He says the Edge podcast with DeFi Dad and co-host Nomadic welcomed Rocket Pool's community advocate Jasper to discuss Rocket Pool. They discussed Jasper's discovery of crypto as well as his involvement with Rocket Pool. Jasper broke down how rETH works and accrues yield compared to other LSD tokens. They then went on to explain the risks associated with LSDs, the coming LEB8s, and the potential impact on Rocket Pool. Extremely bullish. I added that, not Trevor N. And Jasper talked about liquidity incentives, self-limit vote, and Rocket Pool's potential to capitalize on eigenlayer. He emphasized Rocket Pool values are Ethereum values. So that was really great of Trevor N to provide that summary. I listened to the call itself. It was very entertaining. So definitely give it a listen if you are curious about that. Okay, next we have this interesting comment from Yorick. He says, hey Joe, Docker CE 23.x requires Appermore to be installed and will fail to start containers if it isn't. You may wish to check during Rocket Pool service install and bring it in if it isn't there. That's on Debian Ubuntu. I haven't tested on anything else as I don't run anything else. And Joe says, what? They don't list it as a prereq? And Yorick says, nope. Would be nice if they did. And then basically there's some issues there. And then Object came in, he says, I also saw a case of it in support yesterday, which led me to make a new support command. So then there's a bot there that has the command. It says how to fix the Appermore issues. The latest Docker update seems to break some Docker installations. To fix it, run sudo apt install Paramore utils, followed by, and then like just the codes basically, and then you can start your service as usual. So that's definitely one to keep an eye out for if your node breaks with the latest Docker update. Okay, so the next thing that happened was something quite interesting. Is Coin Bureau, which is one of the biggest YouTube channels, mentioned Rocket Pool. Let's have a quick listen to see what they say.
The silver lining to this crackdown on centralized staking services is that it's effectively forcing US users of these exchanges to use decentralized staking services instead. Liquid staking protocols like Lido Finance and Rocket Pool have seen massive inflows, and their tokens have pumped in response.
Yeah, so this is the first time, as far as we know, that Coin Bureau has acknowledged Rocket Pool. They've talked about Lido a bunch of times, like a whole bunch of times. They've mentioned it quite frequently, but this is the first time that Rocket Pool is mentioned, and I think it's just showing, going on the back of like the huge gains and like popularity we've had recently. So I'm happy that that's happening. Hopefully, you know, we'll get a little bit more nuanced discussion about staking from the Coin Bureau team now based on this, but we can live in hope, but I don't think it's going to happen. Let's see. Okay. Next we had Dabdab, who came into trading a couple of days ago, and he said, does this make sense? Thought you can get the answer without using a concrete example. So there's a table that Dabdab shares, and he says commission rate 15%, beacon chain rewards 3.5%, execution reward APR 2.5%. So you know, he's working out that if you solo staking, your returns are about 6%. On the mini pool 16, he works out that your returns are about 6.9%, which is 15% better than solo staking. And then under mini pool 8s, LEB 8s, it'll be 8.7%, which is 45% better than solo staking, 26% better than 16 ETH staking. So this was really interesting table that he shared, trying to like crunch some numbers that were mentioned last week. And Valdo says, skipping to the bottom, that's correct if you know the RPL investment, which is reasonable if you hold the RPL anyway. So he says, that said, commission is dropping to 14% with Atlas, so 42% better than solo. Yeah, which is really great to see. It's a really big deal. Yeah, 42% better than solo. So then Dabdab put that information and put it into a tweet. He says, did you know that running 8 ETH mini pool, Rocket Pool, is 42% more profitable than solo staking? This is even without considering RPL rewards, pure ETH gains. 8 ETH mini pools are undergoing audits and testing now and should be out in 1 to 2 months in the Atlas upgrade. Hopefully they'll be out before Shanghai. So we might get them as soon as 5 weeks from now, potentially. And I don't want to, you know, set targets for the team here. That's just me guessing. There's no firm dates for Shanghai. There's no firm dates for Atlas, but we could have it, you know, fairly soon, in the middle of March maybe. And Dabdab says, gigantic Terry on the top is RPL APR, netting around 8% right now on an asset that does this against ETH in a bear market, and it's like up and only to the right because of all the ratio increases we've had recently. He says you can choose to have RPL exposure that's as low as 10% of the protocol share of ETH staked. And he says special shout out to Ken Smith for running the initial numbers to determine the variables needed for Atlas, and of course the awesome Rocket Pool community and devs for voting and implementing the changes respectively. So this thread got a whole lot of love from the Rocket Pool community and others who were like quite curious about these numbers, so much so that this article went out in crypto.news about 8 ETH mini pool operators on Rocket Pool are more profitable than solo stakers, analyst shows. And the analyst they're talking about, of course, is Dabdab. So that was really great to see that, you know, there's this groundswell of people paying attention now to Rocket Pool, and like Dabdab getting shout out. So that's really cool. Okay, the next thing I wanted to talk to you about this is a premium that has kind of come back recently on rETH on the secondary markets. That's because there's so much demand for it and it's not available to mint from the contract directly because it's full. So the premium went up to nearly 2% over the weekend, and right now it's at around 1.6%, which means that if you were to ARB a mini pool creation right now, you'd get 0.26 ETH, which is absolutely fantastic. Great reward. So people are wondering, why did the premium go up again? Well, it seems like our good friends who are allegedly, potentially, likely in North Korea. The wormhole network exploiter has been buying more rETH, and they bought 910 rETH on Uniswap, which drove the premium up like a good chunk, and meant that they're making it profitable to start mini pools again, and people have already started paying attention to that and taking advantage of that. So Shifrin says, what is a wormhole exploiter? And Pteris says, there's a label in Etherscan. There have been reports that this address is involved in the wormhole network exploit. Please proceed with caution about interacting with it. And MadMat says they still have 34,000 WETH, wrapped ETH. So yeah. And then Patches says, make him buy RPL. So yeah, it was, Pteris then caught another buy for 151 rETH. So they bought over 1,000 rETH in total. And at that point, the premium went up to net 0.3 ETH on Aave, which was, yeah, very useful. So it looks like the North Koreans are enjoying their rETH. We were actually talking about it in trading about how they have a smarter investment strategy in some ways than a lot of hedge funds that blew up over the last year do. So yeah, it's funny. Okay, so talking about Rocket Pool and Ethereum. So Rocket Pool's Ethereum staking service reaches $1 billion in TVL. It says, according to data from DeFi Llama, Ethereum staking service Rocket Pool reached $1 billion in total value locked on February 9th. The move comes less than 2 years after the decentralized finance protocol launched its mainnet on November 9th, 2021. And then it just gives detail about what is there, and about that, the fact that, you know, there's 385,000 ETH staked in total. Half of that, of course, is from the nodes, and half of that is from rETH. And 2,068 node operators. So it's really, really great to see that, you know, Cointelegraph, all these other places are talking about Rocket Pool. Like, it's fantastic. Right, so all of this bullishness recently has led to Rocket Pool having 8 million RPL staked on the platform, on the protocol, which is really great landmark. It's just less than half of all RPL staked. However, because the ratio has gone up so much since people started staking with Rocket Pool, the amount of effective staked, which is that is earning rewards right now, is 6.1 million, 6.125 million RPL are earning rewards, and the rest of it is ineffective and above 150%. So once the node operator grief expires and runs out, whether that's through the lapsing in 28 days, but more likely sooner than that because the team has a fix ready, once that finishes, then there's potentially nearly 2 million RPL that could be sold on the market. However, I'm not going to comment on how much of that will or won't be sold, but that's where we stand right now. Okay, next, Rocket Luke shared this information. You got 2 mentions today, good job, about 1KX.network fund, which bought 570,000 RPL in August 2021, and they just staked their first 9,000 RPL via 2 addresses. It seems like they're testing a new node operation. So they deposited a whole lot of RPL, and then we got this screenshot today about them depositing another 13,250 RPL. So they really are putting RPL in there, and they've got a whole lot of RPL. They can probably spin up around 400 mini pools, I think, with that, or 500 mini pools. Very high collateral percentage. With the low collateral percentage, it could potentially be hundreds, if not thousands, I think, which is really amazing. Yeah. Okay, next we have this thing from Fornax, whose Rocket Builders Workshop has been listed on the Ethereum ETH Denver website, and it says more information is a workshop to explore the Proteus project from Joe Clappis and the Rocket Pool Smart Node. Proteus is low cost, low energy 3D printed staking machine, perfect for running an Ethereum node. We aim to show how cheap and easy it is to stake from home using Rocket Pool's open source smart node stack. So this is the workshop that we mentioned a few times. So it's targeting introductory users, or like low intermediate users, to get up and running on a staking machine and just seeing just how easy it all is. Fornax also had a pop competition where, you know, there was a bunch of POAPs and POAPathon, and using that information, we voted for this Rocket Builders Workshop Denver February 26th POAP, which looks really, really cool. You can see it on the screen now. That was the winning POAP. And then, yeah, if you're going to Denver, if you're going to be around during Build Week, definitely attend this event. I think it's going to be really awesome. Okay, next we had this thing from the EVMavricks Discord. EVMavricks are, of course, you know, the lions that you might have seen the NFTs of. It started out in ETH Finance, Reddit's ETH Finance community, and they got a grant from the Ethereum Foundation of 20,000 DAI to promote staking education. So they said Stakeathon is a project of Mainnet DAO, aka the EVMs here. The idea is to create educational resources, website, video event to make Rocket Pool staking as easy and friendly as handheld a process as possible with these tools. We applied for and received 20,000 DAI grant from EthStaker last summer to accomplish all this. Between then and this month, we've been honestly struggling a bit to coordinate a bunch of volunteers with other stuff going on to make any progress on this project. So the DAI has just been sitting there in our multisig. Over the last month, we hired a project manager who actually has a plan to get this project accomplished, minus the event part, and moved the DAI to a smaller multisig so we can pay people for their work. We're currently at the stage where the project manager, Doubt Stars of Fire, will be looking for volunteers and paid contractors to work on the technical and content pieces of this educational website with videos, which we're tentatively calling Rocket School. She has approval to hire outside help as she needs, but we would love to find any interest parties within the ecosystem to either volunteer or get in touch with us about paid work on the project. We don't have gigabucks, but can afford to pay fair rates for a modest amount of work. So basically, you're wondering if you or anyone in the Rocket Pool community who would be interested in working on this Rocket Pool educational website content creation videos, either as a volunteer or for pay. Why us? We feel that ETH Finance and our EVMs have a really deep pool of knowledge, and more than that, educational ability that can be channeled in service of decentralization by lowering the technical barriers to Rocket Pool staking as much as possible. So I absolutely love this initiative. Rocket School sounds amazing. They're asking for people to help, whether you will be a volunteer or whether, you know, they might be able to pay you a little bit to help create content that will make staking Rocket Pool even easier. So I think this is a fantastic endeavor. Please get in touch with Interweaver. They're in the Rocket Pool Discord as well, so you can just tag them. And yeah, talk to Interweaver about this if you are interested in helping. And I think they can use all the help they can get. So I said, I love this idea. I'll be happy to check content. I'm also happy Jasper will help. Jasper's already been promoting and tweeting about it. And I said to them that, you know, I'll mention you where I can. So please reach out to me or Interweaver and I'll get you in touch with them to volunteer with this or, you know, get paid for it. So definitely take them up on that. Okay, next we have this news about a huge wallet that was accumulating RPL, over 40,000 RPL, 2.1 million's worth on CowSwap from January 21st to February 9th. It says since January 24th, the value of RPL has increased by 50%, but this wallet, instead of selling it or trying to trade it, has sent it all to staking, to stake it all. So it's absolutely amazing about how many people are just getting involved in Rocket Pool staking now and what they're all doing with it. Like, it's really, really cool to see that it's happening like this. Okay, and finally, a couple of things to finish on. One of the things is this wall that Invis created a new bot just to show you how much liquidity is available for the RPL token up and down. So this isn't the current version of the wall, but actually let me see if I can get the current version of the wall. Yeah, Invis says he made some fixes and changed some things to make it a little bit better. So as you can see, the price has gone down these last couple today and basically since the last couple of days since the highs. So we now find ourselves in the slightly lower liquidity zone, but as we move up, there's actually a fair chunk of liquidity available, especially now the wall that Marceau put up there a few days ago between 0.35 and 0.45. So this is a really nice bot that just helps you visualize how much liquidity there is on the up and down side, and might give you an idea of what kind of movements to expect in the price in the coming weeks and months. But yeah, I don't know how much you can read into it as a price predictive tool, but I think it just helps you see how much slippage you might experience if you do a big buy. So that's good. Okay, now moving on to the final things, a couple of things that are on the side. One is Vaca was kind enough to make a bot for me for the amazing spreadsheet that RPL Maxi made. He tried to make this leaderboard bot, but it seems like there was already a bot with the command leaderboard. So now if you go to trading or any of the main channels, you can use Waqboard as a bot, and that will bring up a snapshot of the leaderboard that has all the work that people have done. Let me just see if this is up to date. Okay, I'm just using that right now. So I used it and here we go. Yeah, so Sneaky's number 1, Jasper's number 2, and then RPL Maxi is number 3, and people are like doing that, but after today's episode then those numbers will be updated, and this is what will count as the entry for the raffle. So it's really exciting to see this bot in use. Vaca, thank you so much for making this bot. It's absolutely wonderful. The great thing about it is that calling the bot, just paste this link into the message, and then the embed of that link brings up the bot for the top 11 people. So I think it's a really nice way of getting that information. So good job. Okay, and next, really happy news to finish on. Dybsy, we saw the POAP that he had in POAPathon last week, and it seems like he proposed to his now fiance. So they're engaged to get married, which is absolutely wonderful. And I'm so happy for Dybsy and his fiance. So congratulations, and I wish you the best during your engagement and everything that comes ahead. And yeah, it's just really nice to finish on a happy note. So congrats, Dybsy. Thanks for everyone watching, listening, and helping make Rocket Fuel possible. Truly, I can't do it without you all. Like, even with all the help, like today's episode was just gargantuan. So thank you so much, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.